Hey everyone, this is Dave with Valor Fire Training for our next episode of Q&A with Kale Brucks. Thanks for joining us, man. How you been?
You bet. I've been good, man. How you been?
I've been doing great, man. It's we're on the back end of COVID and just got my second shot not too long ago, and just kind of waiting for this whole thing to go away. How are you guys doing over in Missouri? You guys getting everything over there?
Yeah, we're trends are going down. We're starting to relax on some restrictions. Everything's starting to look better, and I also just finished up my second vaccination shot about 2 weeks ago. No side effects on that, luckily. And that same morning, we caught a nice commercial job, so
Nice.
I was happy to get through that. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't you introduce yourself, kind of tell people what you do and where you're from, and kind of how you got into where you're at.
yeah, sure. So like you said, my name's Kale Brucks. I have been in the fire service for almost 17 years now, through a variety of different facets. I started in a small town volunteer, went on to educate myself, get my fire science degree, and continue my path in the fire service. After that, I moved to the Lake of the Ozarks. I got hired at a combination organization, so I have that experience. And then I spent quite a few years down there. Also volunteered down there for another department. Had a blast. A lot of great guys down there. And then I moved to Columbia, Missouri, and I've been there for about 9.5 years. So really glad to be there. We have a great organization. We just got a new fire chief from, he's originally from Missouri, but it's kind of bounced around a little bit. He's got some great ideas, and I'm excited to see the future of our organization and where we go. Aside from that, I started Engine Company Leather back in 2012. And probably not too many people heard of it back then, because we were just kind of some friends screwing around with some leather. We didn't have a clue what we were doing. We were just kind of learning and buying all the wrong stuff, all the wrong leather, trying to piece stuff together. But so basically it was a hobby for, I would say, 3 or 4 years. And then I had quite a few different events occur in my life and in the fire service. And I decided to channel more of my energy into my baby or my business, and actually turn it into something and grow it. So that's where we currently are today. We're in our shop or factory, whatever you want to call it. We've got 3 employees, and we're doing pretty good, I think. So
That's awesome. Well, and it's cool because when I first met you, you had started Engine Company Leather, and I was kind of watching as first you started out with just like a shield, and then you kind of started out, dabbling into other things. And now you make a whole array of stuff. I mean, you make shields, you make radio straps, you make belts. So it's really cool to watch as you've grown it and kind of started collaborating with other companies.
Right.
And so I've watched as you, funneled this energy, which was outside of the fire service, but it was still connected with the fire service. And I've always thought that was really cool, because people like us, even though Valor Fire Training is still fire service related, it's a different type of environment. So it's different than being at work. And so I know you and I have had some conversations over the years about funneling energy to basically keep yourself sane, and not go off the handle. So this question that came in that we had that made me think of you instantly. It comes from a girl named Jasmine, and she says, I've been in the fire service for 5 years, with the first 2 being a volunteer. Now that I'm a full-time firefighter EMT, I find it really hard to enjoy the same hobbies and things outside of my work because my work schedule does not lend itself to much downtime. We work 24-48 shifts, and we average 10 calls per day. The day that I get off work, I usually am pretty tired and sleep most of it. And the second day off, I'm preparing mentally and physically to go back to work. I love what I do, but I want to find a happy work-life balance. Do you have any suggestions? And I think this is something that we in the fire service as a whole struggle with. And it's different degrees for everyone. There are some people who, when they walk out the door in the morning, that's it. They don't worry about work. They don't worry about the department. They don't ever come back for recalls, whatever it is. And then you have the other people who, for whatever reason, whether it's a stressful situation at work or a bad call or whatever, they're constantly tied to it, even when they're not at work. And so I think, I personally have been in all of those situations, and I'm sure you probably have. So there's a lot of different rabbit holes we can go down. I know there's off camera, we talked about a couple things that we wanted to make sure we touched on. But what would you tell Jasmine? I mean, it sounds like she is working every 3 days, which is tough. That's a tough schedule. And it sounds like the things that she wants to be able to do, she can't really find the time. So what would you suggest for her?
Yeah. So number one, switch to 4896. It's awesome.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. So our organization actually just switched that. We did a year trial period, and we had like 90% vote in favor of it. It's truly been great. Some of the busy nights, it sucks the next day and stuff like that. But if you have understanding officers and battalion chiefs and stuff like that, it works out just fine. It was kind of a joke. Yeah, I'm sure you're probably stuck with your schedule, but yeah, change it to 4896. It's awesome. No, I would say that's a hard question, really, to be honest. Like you said, where you and I we do something outside of the fire service, but it's still pretty sternly connected to the fire service. So, and I think that just comes with the passion for the job. We have passion on the job, and then we're doing something else that we have passion for, but it's still connected to the fire service. So, some people might want to go that route. Some people might want to do something completely different, might get outdoors or go hiking or, something like that. I mean, my biggest suggestion would be to find what you're passionate about. Like, look at yourself deep down. What are things that truly make you happy? And more than likely, it's probably going to be something that makes you uncomfortable or is scary. And that's what you need to focus on. So, I would sorry, Brody wanted to make an appearance real quick.
It's a live shop. So, we get it. The background, people just walking through the background.
Yeah. But, find something that truly makes you happy and go after that, whether it's connected to the fire service or not. I think that's where you need to go in life.
Yeah. Well, and the 4896, I want to talk about that real quick, because that's something that I've been hearing for years. And I've worked 24/48s. I've worked the Berkeley, or the modified Berkeley, where it's every other day for 3 days and you get 4 days off. Up in Nebraska, they did every other day for 2 weeks, or it was like 14 shifts, and then you got 7 days off in a row. So that was a little different. And even though I didn't technically work those, I was around it. And so I saw these people just getting their, butts kicked. And, they're running all these calls to the point where, you've been working for 2 weeks and you're running 10, 11 calls a day. So, the 4896, everybody that I've talked to, they love it because, you're stuck there for 2 days, and then, you have 4 days off, and it's just mentally gives you a break. How did that change for you guys when you went to that 4896?
Yeah. So, our labor group kind of had been pushing it for a few years. It wasn't until we got some change in management that they were kind of more open to the idea. Internally, inside of our labor group, we took a poll. We did a lot of research. We presented that to our management and said, listen, 87% of the department wants to switch to the schedule. Here's all the pros, here's all the cons. We're not asking for a yes, let's do it, whatever. How about we try a trial period? We collect some data, we see how it goes. We re-survey the members and see where we're at. So we did it for a year. We started it in February of 2020, I believe. And we did that for a year. Of course, it was quite an adjustment for some. I would say for most of us, especially families, young kids, things like that. But if you look at the schedule, it actually allows you more time with them. Um, I know for like, say you're a mother at home with a young baby, 2 days in a row to have your significant other gone can be a struggle. But at the end of the day, you actually get more time with them. You get more weekends, stuff like that. It's just, in my opinion, it's a better home life schedule. And the numbers don't lie. There's plenty of organizations out there that can show you, what their percentage rate is for it and not for it, and most of it is 70s, 80s, 90s%. That's pretty good, and almost 150 people like in my organization. That's a pretty good number of people that are for it. So you
Yeah,
can't you can never please anybody. That's just part of it. But those
sure.
kind of numbers, it's worth it. So we did it for the year. Everybody came back. We resurveyed everybody, and it jumped from 87 to, don't quote me on this, but maybe 94, 95% or something. So
I would believe that. Yeah.
yeah. So then we got it in our contract that we were going to switch to the schedule. City council approved it, and so that's where we're at now.
Yeah, I can't honestly say that I've talked to anybody that works 4896 that complains about the
Right.
4896. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
not oh, there's the dog again. There's
Yep.
my 106-pound golden doodle. So no, I haven't talked to anybody who has complained about the 4896. It's not I think it gives people a lot of time. And the one thing that I want to talk about real quick that doesn't get talked about a lot as far as mental health and like Jasmine saying that she doesn't feel like she gets enough time off. The 24/48, I think, is probably one of the hardest schedules because
Yeah.
it's every 3 days. You just never get a break. And some departments do Kelly days where they'll throw in, I think it's like every 7 shifts, you get 1 extra shift off. But I've watched and I've had these friends where they'll go through their career and they'll boast about, oh, I have 2,000 hours of sick time, or I have, we're capped out on our vacation time every year. So at the end of the year, a lot of us are trying to burn time. But people will hoard that and they never use it. And it's
Right.
like, okay, well, listen, if you feel like you're not able to get a break, if you don't get a break, that's going to start leading to stress, anxiety, depression, a lot of those things. Take a day off, take a day off every
Right.
once in a while. And
Yeah.
so I that has been a real struggle for me. I've been one of those hoarders where, I have so much vacation and
Yeah.
sick time. And then I look back and I'm like, I could have taken a bunch of days off to go do things that would have kind of let me decompress.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I would say you're exactly right. I mean, those sick days are there for for a lot of different things, but don't shy away from using it for that type of reason. E- Especially if you feel like you are not getting a break. Like, you can take that time, go do something that just completely takes you away from all of that and just decompress. I guarantee you'll feel much better. So, and it's not that big a deal to burn that 24 hours for something like that. So instead of keeping that just building and building and building, and then you get to work and you're so agitated and irritated about stuff, and then something happens, you pop off, you say the wrong things, you get yourself in trouble, and all that could be avoided by just taking some time off and getting away from that type of stuff.
Yeah, and I think here recently, I would say probably in the last 5 to 10 years, but predominantly more in the last 5, I have had a lot more bosses that I've talked to through teaching or the organizations that I work for who completely support, take a mental day. If you're stressed out and you need time, take a mental day. And just, I don't care what you do. I know our department, you can only be off for, I think it's 2 or 3 shifts before you have to have a
Yeah.
doctor's note.
Right.
And so, yeah, if I just need a day off, just take a day off and go do whatever you need to do. So, Jasmine, as far as her question, making sure that you have that happy work-life balance, it may require you to take a day off. The other
Right.
thing is that, I am not unlike you. I'm constantly looking at stuff. Uh, you know, 8 to 5 is really the agency's time, right? So we're getting
Right.
sent out on details. We're actually going and doing stuff.
Right.
But in the evenings, I try to set aside like 2 to 3 hours of time just for me to do something that I enjoy. So I'll work on
Mhm.
graphic design, or I'll work on, some Valor fire training class. What have you done as far as being on duty where you have to be there, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
how do you find that kind of balance to make sure that you're able to decompress?
Yeah. So, I mean, very similar to what you said. We kind of have the same thing, like the 8 to 5 is their time where whatever we have for the day, training, details, calls, stuff like that. Obviously, we still have calls after 5, but yeah. So then, we do some different things. I'm at a 2 company station with a battalion chief, or actually a division chief, sorry. And So we're a very tight knit group down there, on our shift at our station. So we do a lot of things together. We all generally work out together as a group. Um, so whether it be like a circuit or a deck of cards, or we have a 10-story parking garage right down the street or whatever, we'll go run stairs. So exercise is one of the things that we'll do as a group together. That is a great kind of just getaway. It's physically good for you, mentally good for you, stuff like that. um, I like to read fire service books, um, specifically older fire service books. It really draws me in, just knowing that 50 years ago, 60, 70 years ago, that our mentors had it figured out, and not much has really changed. And so I like reading the old facts about the fire service and how we should be doing things. Um, so I really enjoy that type of stuff. And then I probably shouldn't say this, but uh, we do play Xbox together sometimes here and there.
There
Uh,
ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
yeah, it just, you don't have to worry about anything. You just
Yeah.
put a controller in your hand and have some fun. So, there's various things we do. Sometimes I'll take some leather stuff with me to work, and just, what I feel like painting a radio strap this evening, or something like that. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff we can do to kind of just make it our time and decompress and get away a little bit, even though we're at the firehouse.
Yeah, and growing up as an explorer in Lincoln, there was actually a guy named Dick Zeckman, and he was the driver of Engine 10, and he had a full-blown woodworking studio up in the upper area. It was like, if you didn't know that it was there, you would never know that there
Yeah.
was this full-blown woodworking studio. But I mean, he'd come in, he'd do his truck checks, he'd sit down, he'd have a cup of coffee. I mean, he was the nicest guy ever. And then he would disappear for, after he was done doing his, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 stuff. He'd disappear for hours. And once I found out that that's what he was doing, I mean, I'd go up there and he was building all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But that was his happy place. And so,
Right.
yeah, I mean, there's Xbox, there's all that. One thing that I've kind of gotten into both on and off duty is meditation. And if you would
Hmm.
have told me 10 years ago that I'd be meditating, I would have laughed at you.
Yeah.
A couple of people tried to get me into yoga. I am super leery of that. I don't know, man. Like, I'm always afraid that I'm going to be like doing the downward dog or like the reverse, whatever. And then it's just like, I'm going to get stuck that way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys remember Rescue Me. There's the episode where Lou is doing the yoga and he farts in the middle of the
Yeah.
class. Like that, that
Yeah.
would be me, right? But there's a lot of people that do meditation, they do breathing
Uh-huh.
exercises.
Yeah.
And so, as far as that like work-life balance, even though it's not specific to Jasmine's thing, it's not an outside hobby, but it's something to help you kind of decompress until you can get to what you're wanting to do off duty.
Absolutely. I
So,
uh I'll just touch on the meditation thing real quick. Actually, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like 10 years ago, if you would have told me that, I've been like, it's the dumbest thing ever.
Right.
I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting cross-legged on the floor and all that shit, you know. So, but no, I sought out some mental therapy, and one of the suggestions was to meditate. And then I also kind of started doing my own research on different things like diet and exercise and how all that comes together to make you a healthier person, both physically and mentally. And so I got into a meditation regimen, and I actually bought, I don't know if you've heard of this thing or not, but it's Muse headband. It's Muse.
No, I haven't
Um,
heard of it.
Not sponsored by them. So, uh,
Yeah,
but
this is
anyways,
not
I
a
did.
paid sponsor.
I did some research, and it's this headband basically that you wear, tucks behind your ears, and supposedly it measures your brain activity, and it comes with an app that measures the stuff. And I would put my AirPods in, and basically, if you're in the right place, like everything's nice and quiet and everything's going good, and if your mind starts to wander and come out, then like birds would start chirping, and it would let you know to relax and get back to where you were and stuff like this. And it measures all this data, and then it would give you that data like at the end of the week or whatever you wanted to see. It would tell you
Really?
how many minutes you meditated, you know, what your brain activity was doing and stuff like that. And then you could see those trends and be like, all right, this meditation thing is like no joke. Like I'm actually starting to get in a good spot. I'm increasing my time from 5 to 7 to 10. I was going like 25 minutes and just smooth. And I'm telling you, it made a big difference for me. I slept better, my moods were better, stuff like that. And I always tease my girlfriend Ashley. She's always like, "Man, I didn't sleep good at all, you know, last night." And I'm like, "You know, it would help that." She's like, "Don't even say it." I'm like, "Yes, you need to meditate. I'm telling you, it would make a difference." But I've kind of slacked off on it, and I really need to get back to it. But something I used to do, and here and there I still do it, but I'm going to get back to it. But when I would get off shift from the firehouse, I have about a 30-minute drive down here to my house. Once I would get home, I would make a pot of coffee and kind of lay the stuff out that I need to take to the shop. And I would sit on the couch. You don't have to do the cross-legged thing on the floor and the fingers. That's yeah. So,
um
yeah, right. So I would get my cup of coffee, set it on the end table, sit on the couch. I would meditate for 5, 10, 15 minutes before I start my day, basically, even though I've already started my day, you know, waking up at the firehouse, doing the chores before we leave and all that. And just I'll throw this in there real quick. Something else I try not to do is pick up my phone first thing in the morning. I don't try to check text messages or emails or any of that stuff because that's all distractions. That's taking your mind in a different place and you're starting to worry about everything you have to do today. If you just leave that alone, start your day, do what you want to do, make coffee, relax, spend 10 minutes doing that, maybe get a workout in. Once you're done with all that, then start your day. Pick up your phone, see what you got going on, and then get moving on it. I'm telling you, it'll make a big difference.
well, and it's so cool that you brought up that Muse thing because I
Yeah,
I honestly, I mean, okay, all firefighters are skeptical. You know, there are very few of us that are like, oh yeah, you want us to buy that because it's the best thing in the world? Sure, let's go ahead and buy it.
right.
And so when you said that originally, I was like, oh, this is another one of those copper fit things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it totally, I was like, man, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if that's something that works, it sounds really cool. I actually want to try it now. Um, but that is, I think, the mental health side of this whole question from Jasmine and the mental health side for the fire service in general. You know, we're leaning more towards that work-life balance. And I think that's becoming more culturally accepted now
sure.
than it ever has been. I mean, when I started in the fire service, it was work, 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 and then you die. And
Right.
now it's culturally accepted that, you know, you have to have time for your family. You have to have time for your loved ones. And I don't know about where you work, but I know with my chief, he has always been so cool with, you know, hey, if you need to go pick up your kids or if your kids have a game or something, you know, he'll come in and cover shifts for people
Right.
so
Right.
that they can go and be able to do those things.
Mhm.
And it's just, obviously with a smaller organization, it's a little easier to do stuff like
Sure.
that. But
Right. Right.
yeah, I mean, with us, and I kind of want to dive into this a little bit more specifically, but you started Engine Company Leather as more of an outlet. And so that was kind of your hobby. And as you started it, it seemed to morph into more than that. So why don't you kind of explain to everybody how that happened and kind of what the end result was?
Sure. So I I can't take all the credit because I've had a lot of people help me along the way, and but basically, Brian Pirtle out of Kansas City, Missouri, he's owns a company called Red House Shields. He makes amazing shields, probably the best shield builder I've ever seen in my entire life. So that's kind of where I got like glued onto this. Like I saw some of his work and I was like, he's making that out of leather? Like, how in the hell is that possible? It looks amazing. So I started doing some research, asking some questions. And fortunately for me, I was working at a station in Columbia. I just got hired there, pretty new. I was a floater, and I got detailed out to a station for a while because the firefighter was out on extended leave. So I was basically kind of sent there for, I don't know, a month or so. So I knew I was going to be there with this guy, and he really took to me pretty quick. And I mentioned something about leather, and he's like, "Well, I do leather stuff," and he's like, I tell you what, I'll bring you in some tools, a scrap piece of leather, a catalog, and see what you think." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." So, like the next shift or something, he brought in a scrap piece of leather, like 4 or 5 tools, and a Tandy leather catalog, I think. And so I took that home pretty excited. I was looking through the catalog, going, "Holy crap! What are all these tools, and what do they do?" Um, and so I showed like a close friend of mine who was also a firefighter, like, "Hey, look at this, leather stuff. We should try to do something." And so we made like a shield and a radio strap basically at the firehouse. And then one of the guys was like, "Hey, will you make me a radio strap too?" And we're like, "Yeah." So we literally $40 in our pocket to order the materials. We wait 4 or 5 days, it comes in, um, and then we make the thing, give it to them, and then somebody else sees it, and it just kept snowballing from there. Um, so that's kind of where it started. I did it with a couple of my friends from the lake. We kind of got it going. Um, and like I said, just one product after the other, shield, radio strap, glove keepers. We're like, all right, there's a need for good quality leather in the fire service. And so that's kind of where we went with it. So
So you started out doing the leather stuff,
yeah,
and one of the things that I have found with my experience, and one of the things that I want to suggest to Jasmine is, when you look at what your hobbies are, and she doesn't specifically list what her hobbies are, but
right,
let's say she's into rock climbing, right?
right,
It may be hard to travel for a day or two to go somewhere where you can go do rock climbing. So maybe finding a local gym that has a rock climbing wall, or
right,
building one at your house, finding a way, because you only have those 48-hour time frames and you're sleeping for part of it, uh, finding a way to kind of pack all that stuff that you enjoy doing into a shorter time frame. And I know there's probably no shortage of firefighters wherever you are. There's plumbers, there's electricians, there's contractors. And so, yeah, if you wanted to build a rock climbing wall, or if you're into fishing, maybe there's, a place that's closer than your other favorite spot, that in between those shift days, before you can take a vacation day, you can get to where you're going. And so, like with you guys took what you enjoyed doing and you brought it as close as you could to the firehouse.
right.
So how did it morph from the firehouse into an actual business?
Yeah. So over that course of, I don't know, 5, 6 years, I guess, because I started in 2012, and we dabbled with it for several years. Um, so in the course of that time with the hobby leatherwork, a lot of different events took place in my life. in 2014, I was driving the engine to a building collapse, and my lieutenant was killed to death, crushed to death by a slab of concrete that collapsed on him in the line of duty. From there, I had several close friends that passed away, and mentally, I was going through a really tough time. I also got divorced. Everything was just going downhill for me, to be honest. It was a really rough time in my life. But I had something there that I didn't realize, and that was the leather hobby. I really could channel my energy and express my artistic abilities through that, and I really enjoyed it. And it kept me busy doing stuff, kept my mind off of everything that was happening in my life. And so that's kind of was my avenue. So, those few years that I did that as a hobby, I realized once I started doing some things, sought some help, started meditating, get my life back on track, relocated, I realized like this hobby has carried me through these tough times, and I'm very passionate about it. Like, I want to turn this into a business and be successful. I want to hire people. I want to try to give them, watch them grow as employees, give them what I can when I can, just genuinely be good to them and care about them. And the guys I have working for me they're obviously full-time firefighters, so they do this part-time. I can't seem to get away from them, but they're awesome. They really are. They've helped get us a long ways. So through that passion that I had for the leather crafting, I just buckled down in like 2017. I was like, all right, I have this burning desire to turn this into a business, make it profitable, expand it, hire people, and keep going from there. So since that day, I've never looked back. I've just been moving and moving and moving. And so here we are in 2021. We had our best year in sales that we ever had last year, which was very surprising since we didn't get to attend some major trade shows. Our sales were up 373% last year over the previous year. And it's looking like we're still going up this year. Everything started off great. I've set some goals in the company as far as not just our own products, but I wanted to be a distributor or a vendor for other companies. So we brought in Phoenix fire helmets. So we distribute those. We sell the Vanguard gloves, which are very good gloves. We carry Fox Fury lighting solutions. So we've expanded just beyond leather per se, but still quality products in the fire service. And so those things have helped us along the way. And through that, this kind of ties together in my opinion, but through the passion of the fire service being as good as I can be, I want to have the best equipment I can have. So building quality leather products that will hold up and do what you need them to do is the other passion of the leather business that kind of marries that together. Like, I want to be a good fireman, but I also want to wear a hell of a truck belt and know that it's not coming apart. And I want everybody else to know that too, that I sell it to. And if something happens, I'm going to take care of it, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So,
and I think as a vendor, because there are two sides to this. One is that you're a firefighter. The other one is that you're a vendor. As a vendor who has a vested interest in the fire service, and what I've noticed is companies or manufacturers who utilize firefighters as the core of their organization tend to fare way better than the people that are just coming out with the whiz bang gizmos and
absolutely.
It's stuff that we don't really need, and you're not going to convince us that it's something we didn't know we didn't need. You know what I mean? Or didn't know that we needed. So I always talk about Firehooks Unlimited.
Right.
Firehooks Unlimited. It's been firefighter run and operated and owned for a long time.
Right.
And so a lot of the other manufacturers that make tools have now started to incorporate
Yeah.
firefighters. And
Right.
so it's cool because now they're coming up with some cool designs. They're coming out with
Right.
some great tools,
Yep.
and it's by us for us, you know?
Right. Yep.
So I do love that part of it. Now, one thing I will say, and I want to touch on this too, for Jasmine's sake, you know, you started out with just a hobby and it turned into much more than that. And
Mhm.
I have watched as friends became scuba divers and then became master divers and then became instructors. And one of them now actually owns a dive instruction company, and he travels all over the world and does dive trips. And there's a lot of people, you know, shooting, you know, people do instruction on concealed carry or pistol classes. So, you know, just because it's a hobby doesn't mean that it can't turn into a career.
Right.
And so what you're doing for yourself is not only building, you know, something that's going to make you happy now, but, you know, let's say 15 years down the road, you do blow your back out, or you do end up having a successful career without being injured, and, you know, you retire. Well, now you have something.
Right.
So there's a lot of avenues to that. Did you find it really tough? Because I know you have a family. So is it tough to, you know, find that work-life balance with work and engine company leather and personal life? How did you deal with
It
that?
is. Yeah. No, it really is. I tell you, one of the best things I ever did was move all this stuff out of my basement in my house, and I leased a 2,000 square foot shop, and so it's away from me. So, after I do the stuff I want to do in the morning, like drink coffee, meditate, I get over here, fire things up. Generally I try to work till 4:35, whatever, but I don't have to. If Brody has a ball game or whatever, I can cut out of here when I want, shut the lights off, or if these guys are still here working, they'll shut it down and go do those things. And it took me, as you're growing a business and you want it to be successful, in those first 4 or 5 years, it's very difficult because your numbers aren't positive. There's so much stress. You're learning all kinds of things about business that you don't have a clue about. Um, and so you're just constantly working. And I know one of the major things they tell you in the beginning is start paying yourself. Well, almost everybody that says that probably never paid themselves, and
Right.
I didn't either, because I just didn't feel like I could. I just had to work for free, and I worked long hours in my basement, stayed up till 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes, because I knew orders had to get out, people were waiting on stuff. I felt obligated to that. So moving it over here in the shop and having guys that work for me has made a huge difference. Just that separation as far as that goes. And then there's just a there's just a point where you have to decide, like, all right, I'm just going to shut this stuff down and walk away from it. The customer will wait another couple days for a quality product. That's just the way it is. They understand that it takes time, and they'll get it a couple days later, but they'll be happy they have it because it's going to last a lifetime. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think too, you know, when we talk about the ability to separate work and personal time, and, you know, for me, the stressors of doing hobbies or the stressors of running a training company or an engine company, engine company leather for you, it's a different type of stress. You know, I go to work
right.
and something would happen. We'd have a bad call or something would happen administratively, and I'm super stressed out. And for those of you that don't know, I am a crier. I cry a lot. Like I could watch a commercial on TV and it'll just set me off, and I start getting all teary eyed. So I'm super emotionally open. Um, but you know, I think it's one of those things where I would be so stressed out at work, and then something would happen at home, and I'd be even more stressed out. And I found myself, you know, sitting in my car driving to go run errands, and I would just lose it, and I would just start crying because I had so much stuff pent up. And so when I started doing, Valor fire training, it was an outlet, and it was a different type of stress. And what I found was that I actually started forgetting about the stuff that happened at work, and I started forgetting about the problems at home. I totally forgot about this project that I got to work on with this kid. And then I got another kid that I got to take to basketball practice. And then I got all this stuff that I got to do for work. And so once I started finding that path to where everything started falling into its right place, and I got into a rhythm primarily through meditation, then all of a sudden everything just kind of faded away, and I stopped having that stress in my life. Work was work, Valor fire training was Valor fire training, and personal life was personal life. And my family has noticed a huge difference in the fact that, you know, when I'm home, my wife would always say, like, Dave, you're home, but you're not really home.
Right.
You know, you're there, but you're not really there. And now
Right.
when I'm home, I'm there. I'm not checking my emails. I'm not doing all this other stuff because I have separate time for that. So
Right.
do you find that that's kind of the way that you operate as well?
Yeah, definitely. And like before, I didn't before. It took me a while to get here through various things, you know, listening to books and reading books about time management and business things, and just a, a healthy way to approach different things. So through all that, I've really tried to set aside those times for that. And then, you know, kind of like I said, don't pick up your phone in the morning and start flooding your mind with everybody else's problems. Like, get your day going, worry about you, get on track, then start working on that type of stuff. So, yeah, I, you know, every once in a while, I still will pick up the laptop at home and whatever. But it, you know, some of those things you have to do it. There's deadlines. There's fire departments waiting on stuff that has to be to them at a specific time. Sometimes I might have to work on that type of stuff. And Ashley is very understanding of that. She gets it. She actually she started helping me with the business a little bit. She's a nurse full time, so she's very busy, works long hours too. But she kind of started helping me out with some book work and trying to keep me organized because there's just so
Because
much
none of
going on.
us are organized.
Yeah, no, not at all. She'll tell me something and 3 seconds later she's like, "Did you hear what I said?" No, I don't remember. What did you say? So she's trying to help me kind of with some customer service stuff and keeping me on track, getting back to people. And you know, it's difficult because we're not running 5 days a week. We're doing shifts and getting here when we can and all that type of stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
back to my point. I try to set that stuff aside, have a specified time to work on that, and then focus on family life, and for the rest of the time. So
Yeah. Well, and I feel like we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't at least touch on it. And I want to do it in a, you know, positive way. I don't want to drag anything down to focus on negative, but you know, a lot of people talk about mental health and issues in the fire service. And, you know, there's some great instructors out there that are doing some great things as far as talking about firefighter mental health awareness and suicide prevention. And they're doing an amazing job. I've struggled with it. I know you've struggled with it. You know, I have had to go talk to doctors and get on medicine to help with depression. I know with your struggles with some of the stuff that happened, you had to do the same thing. You know, what was that line where you decided, like, hey, I need to go talk to someone. I need to go get help.
yeah, so I would say oops, you still got me?
Yep, I got you.
Something happened weird with my computer. All right, I lost you, but doesn't really matter. Your mustache wasn't really on point that well. So I would say I had a lot of issues with irritability. At work, I was getting myself in trouble. I was very vocal, very blunt. Like Chief Riley would say, he's very blunt. I'm known for my bluntness. Like I tell you how it is, and I really don't care. And I kind of push that stuff a little too far sometimes. Things like that. I had several people like, you know, hey, maybe you should talk to somebody, or you know, look into maybe trying to get some help. So I ended up going to my vice president in our union, who was very involved in getting mental health for people, stuff like that. So I just kind of mentioned to him like, hey, I'm kind of just feel like maybe I should try this and give it a shot. And he's like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Like he gave me the name and the phone number, and it's like, this is all, discreet. This is away from the city. So, you don't have to worry about that side of it. Unfortunately, the downside was I had to pay for it out of my own pocket, but it is what it is. It
Sure.
was worth it. It was worth every penny of it. So I did that for a while, and like I said, kind of got back on track with things and just moved forward from there. So
Yeah, and with not unlike a lot of people that I've talked to over the years, I was reluctant to go talk to someone. I had a lot of issues that I didn't even know I had. I knew how I felt, but I didn't know why I felt that way.
right,
And so when I went and actually finally talked to someone, all these things started coming out, as far as issues with family or work or home life or whatever it is. And so it made me feel a lot better. And I did want to put out there are a lot of different resources for people. There's employee assistance programs through most
right,
employers, and they'll cover a majority of the cost or all of the cost for a certain number of sessions. The International Association of Firefighters does have the mental health clinic or the mental health facility
right,
that you can go through if you're an IAFF member. And also there's the National Suicide Hotline, which is 1-800-273-8255. There's Next Rung, which is an organization that's run by public safety professionals. You can look them up online. They have a text message program where they will get you in touch with providers. But yeah, I think, with Jasmine's question, if she doesn't find a way to get that healthy work-life balance, that can very easily and very quickly, just like it did for us, move towards, a mental health crisis. And so,
right,
obviously we don't want that for her. We don't want that for anybody. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it.
right.
I'm
Yeah,
not normally a touchy feely kind of guy. Like I get emotional about stuff, but I don't want to talk about it. And so once I
right,
started learning
right.
how to open up, I know you and I have had 2 a.m. conversations for hours,
Yep,
just because I needed somebody to talk to, or you did. So,
right,
um, but yeah, so I think as far as Jasmine's question and more openly to anyone listening and watching, it is difficult to find that work-life balance, but it is doable. And whether it's a 48-96 shift move, which I know you're totally in favor of, I wish we could do it
right,
too, or just finding a different thing that you enjoy. Maybe your hobby is very time intensive, so find a couple other smaller hobbies that you can focus on your day off, and then when you take some
right,
vacation days,
right.
be able to go do that. So any other last words of wisdom?
Oh man, that put me on the spot here. Man, I would just like to kind of play off of your interview with Chief Riley and some of the things you guys said together. Chief Riley was, obviously I knew him from down at the lake, and he was an awesome dude. But I heard, I think it was you maybe that said, do the right things for the right reasons. Always stay focused on the mission. Um, get help if you need it. Um, just find something to get your mind in a different place. Um, call somebody to talk to, you know, different things like that. And you take care of each other, and let's make the fire service great again.
Amen to that. I like that.
And buy engine company leather goods.
And by Engine Company Leather Goods. So how can people get a hold of you? Where can people
Yes,
go to find you?
sure. So, me personally, I have my own social media stuff. Just my name again is Kale Brucks, KaleBrucks. I'm not super active at that. I post obviously like family stuff and things like that. But I do post different trainings and events that happen so I can get the word out. I've got a few friends in the fire service. So they can find me there, Instagram. Um, and then for the engine company leather side, it's we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, maybe Twitter, all that stuff. So You can find us all there. And then my email is kale@enginecompanyleather.com. If you need something, shoot me an email, whether it has to do with leather or the fire service or whatever. Feel free to email me anytime. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And then, man, somebody is calling me and
I was
calling
gonna
me
say, man,
and
that's what
calling me.
happens when you run a business. You get phone
Good
calls
gravy.
nonstop. That's how you know you're busy.
This is the fourth time. So whoever's from Oklahoma, I'll get to you in just a second. But anyways, yeah, kale@enginecompanyleather.com. Shoot me email with anything you have. I'll be happy to get back to you when I can. And then, if you're interested in leather products or Phoenix fire helmets, stuff like that, you can go to our website, and that's enginecompanyleather.com. So.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you being on. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. I know you had a lot of stuff going on. You got a kid doing classes. You got
Yeah,
people working their butts off behind you.
He's wanted me to get done so we can make leather patch hats. So he's
dude,
like,
that's pretty cool.
Can we make our patch hats yet? So he's got a little patch hat project. So real quick, I think this is pretty neat, but he got some money for Christmas, and I said, hey, do you want to put this in a savings account, or do you want to try to make money with it? And instantly he's like, I want to make money with it. I'm like, all right, what do you want to do? He's like, how about we make kids patch hats? And I was like, let's do it. So
that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. So he bought all the hats and the materials, and we put them together. And I think he bought like 10 of them, and we've already sold 8, and he's ready to make more. So
that's fantastic. Is that available on your Engine Company Leather site, or how can people?
Yeah, so it's on our website. It's under, I think it's like everyday gear, and then custom patch hats, or leather patch hats actually. And so they're youth kids patch hats. And it's like a fire truck, a football, and a dinosaur was what he wanted to do for kids. So,
dude, that's wicked
there's pictures. Cool. Yeah, there's pictures on our Instagram of like kids wearing them and stuff like that. So you can kind of see what they look like. So
that's awesome. Well, yeah, you better get that kid to work.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Kale, thank you so much for everybody watching and listening. Thank you for taking time to listen to us today. Take care, be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, David.
You're welcome. Take care.
All right, you too.